I congratulate the wonderful organizers for making this 25th annual conference of the Indian Society of Hypertension. And what a delight it is to meet all of you, the stalwarts in the field of hypertension. And thank you, Venkatramji, for bringing me here, an odd man out from your normal group of medical experts of hypertension, cardiovascular diseases. Way back in 1978, early 80s, we were discussing as to why we have not been able to deal with hypertension in its totality and give a cure. All of us know in the last century there have been tremendous contributions of the modern medical system, and we were so enthused that the World Health Organization said we'll bring health for all by 2000. But what happened? As we reached the end of the last century, new pandemics arose, new NCDs came up, lifestyle disorders. Hypertension was the major thing that came up. And no solution. Once you are hypertensive, every hypertensive. Once you got diabetic, it's for your life. Once you have cancer, your days and number have come to pass. Why? This is what we started thinking. Then we understood that the whole of the modern medical system based on modern science is essentially dealing with matter-based approach. So in modern science, the search started 400 years back when Newton and Descartes started the ball rolling, and over 400 years we had tracked the entire physical world almost in its totality. We know that every object we have made out of molecules, atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, fundamental particles, and ultimately energy, E equals mc square. Similarly, we understood the laws that govern them, that is Newton's laws of motion for deterministic approach or classical mechanics, and the quantum mechanics when you go to extremely high speeds of an electron swirling around the nucleus with nearly velocity of light coming up there. All that we understood. Therefore, anything physical, we have the complete knowledge base. Therefore, any challenge that we face in the physical world, we have been a big success. Putting man on the moon, building skyscrapers, underwater tunnels, information technology, and surgeries of surgeries, 5,000 types of surgeries today, and such powerful pharmacological interventions, everything we have been a big success. But what is happening to science? Fritz of Capra wrote that book in 1982-83, Science is a turning point. It has to go beyond the physical, which Newton had told. Newton and Descartes said, this world is so complicated, so sophisticated, we can't understand this whole creation in one stroke. So let us start off with things which are very simple, down-to-earth, concrete things of this world, the physical world. Once we complete the understanding, then we go to the subtler things. And Fritz of Capra, from the University of California, he wrote, time has come, we have to go to understand the deeper dimensions of our creation. Either something like prana, life principle, different from the functioning of the DNA or RNA molecules. Either something like mind, apart from the functioning of the brain cells. Can mind exist without the brain and the body? What is the difference between the mind and the emotions and the intelligence? Is there something like consciousness at the base of this whole being? Into these regions of subtlety and causality, the science is progressing. Over the last 30, 40 years, consciousness has started coming up in most of the conferences, and people have started looking to things which are beyond the physical. And the modern NCDs have been a boon to humanity, I consider, because it has triggered this movement to go beyond the physical. Because these ailments are not merely physical. If they are physical, we would have solved it. They are multidimensional. Mental restlessness, emotional upsurges, deep-rooted psychological conflicts, all at the base of stress and this modern NCDs. Therefore, they are very sophisticated multidimensional challenge that we are facing in these NCDs. And our knowledge base is one-dimensional, physical. How can you solve a multidimensional challenge by a one-dimensional solution? That's why we have no solution. What is the way out? It's here that India comes into picture. Thousands of years back in our country, our ancient yoga masters and spiritual saints addressed this question of trying to understand reality in its totality. And through their intense research, they were able to unravel the mysteries of this whole creation. And they are all available today in our texts of yoga, spirituality, Upanishads, and others. What is that secret that we get in these things? According to the Upanishads, it is said that we are not just a physical body that we have. The whole creation is the manifestation of the consciousness. Just like physical world is manifestation of the energy, consciousness is at the base of the whole creation. Not only the physical, but the life processes, biological systems, the mental intelligence, everything is governed by this pure consciousness. And that is all pervasive, and that is at the base of this whole creation. And that is our original state, from where all of us are born. And it is the state of infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, infinite freedom, infinite power, it is said. And the terminology Patanjali uses for that is Kaivalya. And in Vedanta it's called as moksha. Moksha means absolute freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from all tensions and stresses. Freedom from all diseases. Freedom from all miseries. Freedom from all bondages. And that is the state of absolute freedom that we all are basically. And that has to be manifested in our life. And that's where yoga comes into picture. The manifestation of that absolute freedom can bring about all the necessary solutions to the challenges that we are facing. Therefore, we started working in this direction to see how best this total knowledge base can be brought forth to deal with the modern NCDs, hypertension, heart problem, epilepsy, migraine, irritable bowel syndrome, cancer, HIV, and all these modern NCDs, and how yoga can be brought into fore. Yoga, not merely as a physical exercise, as many people think. Yoga as a way of life. I call it the science of holistic living. It works at the body level, prana level, the mind level, the emotional level, and the intellectual level as well. You want to put it on? Okay. Yeah, sure. If you have that, you can put it here. Sure. So I thought I will make a brief presentation of that, welcoming all the delegates of this 25th annual competition. I thought that the brief about the stress, hypertension, and yoga would bring about the necessary thing. As all of us know, health is not merely absence of a disease, but a state of well-being. And we have to move from the region of illnesses towards normalcy. Unfortunately, though we say prevention is better than cure, we go into the region of illnesses. In fact, our objective of healthcare delivery system should be to move from normal health towards positive health and perfect health. Instead of that, we get into illnesses and we have to deal with that thing. So the great contribution of the allopathic system I was mentioning, eradication of infectious and contagious diseases and so on, and announcement of WHO, and the new challenges that we are facing, modern NCDs, and no solutions. Why? Because the knowledge base of the modern system is physical. As I mentioned, we know the structure and laws of the physical universe. Therefore, anything physical we have been a success. Putting man on the moon, pollution, infectious and contagious diseases, sophisticated surgeries, all we have been able to do. And we are in a turning point to go beyond the physical, to understand if there's something like life, mind, emotions, intellect, consciousness, and so on. And the modern challenges that we face are related to all these aspects, life, mind, intellect, emotions, and consciousness, and therefore we have no solution. What is the way out? The way is to use the total knowledge base that India possesses. India's contribution for this total knowledge base is in yoga, spirituality. And Upanishads contain that knowledge base. What is that knowledge base that we have? As I was just briefly mentioning, it says there is an unchanging dimension of our existing. And emerging out of that is this ever-changing creation. Creation is called Jagat in Sanskrit, Jagatyan Jagat. That means goes on changing is Jagat. So in the world, everything is changing. And therefore, the greatest Buddhist philosopher, Nagarjuna, great logician, he depicted a new model of creation called the Kshanikavada. Everything is temporal, comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. But some brilliant student asked him a question, "Sir, if everything is changing, is there something that does not change?" He did not answer that. The later group who came, the Mahayana group, they came and said that it is the shunya, the vacuum, the zero. But the later on when Shankaracharya came into picture, he said, how is it possible? This fantastic world that we have, this infinite world that we have, can it come from a zero? Totally illogical. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. In his classical bhashya he wrote, and therefore he said that also should be infinite. Purnapadaha, purnabidam. This is full, that also should be full. That cannot be zero. What is the relation between the two? Purnat purnam vidatyate. This world has come from that infinite. When it comes out of that, what happens to that? Will it become a zero? X minus x 0. Will it become a zero? X minus x is 0 is the finite world, law of the finite world. But infinity minus infinity could be infinity. Therefore, purnasya purnam adaya, purnameva avasishyate. That infinite remains untouched. And that is our original state. The unchanging dimension is called Brahman, Atman, reality, pure consciousness, Kaivalya, Nirvana, Moksha, different words. And what is its feature? Infinite power, freedom, bliss and knowledge. And that is what we all are basically. And the ever-changing dimension of creation that has come out of that has the seen, the physical body, and the unseen dimension. That has been depicted here as the 5-layered existence. So in the center I have shown the physical body called the Annamaya Kosha. Slightly bigger than that, the Pranamaya Kosha, then Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. And in our Anandamaya Kosha, everything is beautiful. But gradually it starts coming down and all problems start in the Manomaya Kosha as Adi, percolates down to the physical body and becomes the Vyadhi, or the physical disease. And therefore, in Vijnanamaya Kosha, in Anandamaya Kosha, there is no disease. It is a state of perfect health. But when you come to Manomaya Kosha, the disease starts. And it comes down, causes the imbalances in the Pranamaya Kosha, and becomes the stress reactions. And start hitting the different sting. And becomes the Vyadhi, settles down. That is the whole pathological dimension. So in allopathic system, medical system, what we have done is to deal with the physical body in its totality. Powerful pharmacological interventions, surgeries, all work essentially at the body level. But the root cause, which is there in the Manomaya Kosha, is not tackled effectively. Because we don't know what mind is yet in the modern science. So the healthcare delivery systems are looking beyond the modern medical system through complementary, alternate and traditional systems of healthcare. And the NICAM in USA brought out the emphasis on traditional systems in WHO, and the Ayush in India has been doing that for a long time. Yoga concretizes this wisdom base into our day-to-day life, how to bring its dimension, working at the intellectual, the mind level, the emotional level, the prana level, and the body level into day-to-day activities. They are called as Jnana Yoga, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga.